Well guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back once again to another video. Now I say once again because the weather's been horrendous here in downtown, which is where I'm at today obviously. I've been trying to get out as much as I can with the camera, but it's just simply been too wet. So I've came out today. Now there is a forecast of rain, so the sole purpose of today is actually to shoot later on. When we have got some wet conditions, it's not supposed to get too heavy, and I want to be able to use puddles and the ambient light that we get on an evening. Really pleased with how the last video turned out, and thanks to everyone who watched that video, and I also welcome my new subscribers. Now the reason I've started here is because I mentioned this location in a previous video. If you haven't seen that video, go take a look, it's really worth a watch. But you'll remember these trees, and we've got the colourful chairs. Now I said in that video that they would change because they were green, so it didn't tie in with the colourful chairs, but a lot of those leaves have fallen now. But when I came the other day, I think I just caught it at the right time before it dropped too many leaves, and I simply went for a wide shot as a 4x3. On this day I had a lady, she was tidying all the chairs up, which was great because it meant there was a bit more separation there, they weren't scattered around. And I also tried another couple of images where I just chose a particular section and waited for the subject to walk into the shot. Now it's not raining for the time being, but it is forecasted and it is well on its way. Judging by the last few days, it's absolutely been torrential rain. You're going to have all those reflections of the ambient light, the neon lights of the city, and it really makes for interesting foregrounds. You can get really creative using those wider apertures. I'll probably be shooting around 1.4 this evening, and I'll be manual focusing for a lot of my shots, and I'm going to be able to get to show you that once the city drops into darkness. Now the first area I've came today, I actually wasn't going to come here, but I remembered you always have artwork in this little area that you can see behind us, so I wanted to have a look, because every now and again they actually change that artwork, and because of that heavy rainfall we've got some big puddles in the city, so I'm going to be able to use them to create different styles of images that I'm after. Now what I've decided to do is, because I've had time to take a look at it, I want to try and create some separation, and the way to do that is actually get to the opposite side of the artwork. Now luckily I've got this dry patch round the edge, so I can get round the edge of the building and get in position to where I want to photograph. I'm always on about separation within your images, so I've chose two particular interesting parts of this art, and I want to incorporate a subject. So what I'm going to do is I'm selecting these two here. Now I'm just going to get low down, place someone in the center of the closest piece that you can see. That area is quite lit up, and because this area is in the dark, it really stands out a lot more. Now you'll be able to see how it's already getting dark in the city here. It's actually only gone mid-afternoon, but we're already getting some of those ambient lights switching on, because I think sunset's around 4:30. Now because I've walked the city many times, I already know in this location at the end of the alleyway that we get this blue illuminated light, and it really spills out over the top of the cobbles here, and it's gonna throw all that light up towards where I'm photographing. So any subjects walking towards that light are gonna come across as more or less a silhouette. Now the blue light that I was talking about finally came on. All I need is for it to get a little bit darker to capture the images, and you're going to get to see how much this alleyway is transformed. That light's already spilling onto my face. The colour's amazing, it really is. I'm going to take my first shot from the end of the alleyway looking up it in this direction in front of us, and then I'm simply going to go to the area where I was before, behind that wall, and photograph it in the opposite direction. Now don't forget, leave a comment below, let us know which images you like the best. Do you like the ones with colour, or do you prefer the ones in black and white? Now I came to this area here and it's amazing, it really is. Got some beautiful lighting, some nice structures of the building. But what I want to do is I want to actually photograph not the so obvious. So the obvious to me would be this building, and get to the opposite side of the street and wait for subjects to pass through the light. But the more I've looked at it, I've actually came to this area here where it all ties together. You've got the stairwell, it's got these yellow lines on each step as it goes up. But on the actual footstep leading to the doorway, it's also got those yellow markings. So it ties in with the stairwell in the background. Now that's one thing you can do with your street photography. You don't always have to photograph the bigger picture. You don't always have to have subjects in your image. Go for those abstract style images, whatever attracts you to the scene. So I'm going to get back and I'm going to try this shot. Now I'm going to shoot this at 5.6. We've got a lot of light in there, nothing's moving, and I think it'll make for an interesting image. Over my left shoulder there, we've got this brick glass wall and it's illuminated from inside. So any subjects walking past that glass wall really stand out as silhouettes. Now I can go for a couple of style of images here. I'm going to go for a black and white and a colour. Now as cars go past, the concrete bollards in the centre of the road there actually catch some of that light, along with the colour from the traffic lights. So this is another example of how you can build on a composition, how you can create layers in your image. You maybe not think the beginning of the shot is important, but it is, because that metal strip that's catching that colour in the road there, that's going to lead the eye in, and then you're going to have all these shapes in the centre, and the subject, it's going to give it scale, it's just going to be small against that brightly lit background. Now if you cast your mind back to earlier on when I captured the image of the puddle and the reflection of people crossing the crossing, I've decided to come back to this area now. The reason being, I want to show you how different it is from daytime to nighttime, with the added benefit of the ambient and neon lights of the city. I'm going to get down low with the 35mm. We're going to have all that colour reflecting into the puddle, and any subject walking across the crossing is just going to add to the image. Now this is another reason, when you've been out through the daytime, retrace your steps on a night time and everything's going to be totally different. Now if you look over my left shoulder, those of you who'll see my last video, you'll remember that storefront that's backlit and people walking by come across as silhouettes. So I wanted to return this evening with the hope of more rainfall. Now I said earlier on in the video, when I was out the other evening not doing video, the rain was torrential, and this is an area that I came to. So what I wanted to do, since I can't recreate that image tonight because the rain's not heavy enough, I thought I could take you through my thought process and the compositions that I went for. But what I wanted was all the colour that you've got in the background there. You've got colour at the bus stop, you've got colour on the wall itself, and it creates a really interesting foreground. So I got down low to the puddles with the 35mm 1.4 and a manual focused onto the sidewalk where the people were crossing past that storefront. Now if you time it right, because that rain was so heavy, you actually capture the droplets of water in those puddles, and that creates another area of interest. And then I shifted my attention to the centre of the alleyway, where I could get a picture of the alleyway opposite. There was a car park there, its lights were shining towards us, and I captured those lights in the foreground in the reflection of the puddle. Now it's not going to work today because the rain isn't strong enough, people aren't using their umbrellas, but I thought it was a good idea to bring you and talk you through my reasoning for capturing those images. So what I've decided to do is actually pop a couple of those images up for you. Now I took some video with my iPhone just to show you the conditions that I was dealing with, but those conditions helped us create images that I was really pleased with. But for now, I have decided to call it an end to today's video. It's been a fabulous day out from daytime through to nighttime. So if you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget, hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment below and help with that algorithm. But from here in downtown Vancouver, thanks once again for watching. Bye bye.